So product research for retail arbitrage on Amazon really should start with brands research, and I'm going to explain why in this presentation, but I'm also going to demonstrate the process I go through for brands research. I'm Mr. Mark, this is Excel for Amazon, and first of all, I like to explain why you need to do brands research for Amazon as actually the start of your process. And here's the main reason. You can find a good product to sell on Amazon just to find out that you don't actually have approval to sell the brand, or that the brand is unsafe. In other words, you find a product at a supplier, it turns out the product is profitable on Amazon, but then when you go to list it, you don't even have approval to sell it, or when you check it, it turns out to be unsafe. This is obviously a waste of time, number one, and it's also very disappointing when it happens. The good news is that you can actually avoid the situation, and you can avoid it simply by doing research on the brands. Once you do that research, you can then actually find many different products from that same brand that you have already put in the research for. Right? You already know you have approval to sell that brand. You already know it's relatively safe. And so this saves you a lot of time. All right. So basically there's a process. I'm just going to outline the very general process here. Number one, you're going to find a brand. You can find a brand from a supplier or from Amazon. And when I say find a brand, I mean you're finding multiple brands. Number two, you can search the brands on Amazon's catalog to see what results you get and then to determine if you have approval for the brand. But number three, you need to really check to make sure the brand is not on some restricted brands list. You can find restricted brands lists on Google, and you can Google search. I'll show you how to do the Google search where you can check more than one list at a time. But number four, it's a great idea to have some kind of software, a Chrome extension, maybe even more than one, to see if the brand is known for IP complaints. And I actually have a Chrome extension that I'm using for that, and I have a discount code for it. I'll explain that later. But number five, it's a good idea just to actually Google search the brand in general, and of course the products, because now you're trying to source the products and you want to see who the suppliers are that carry them and see if you can find some profitable suppliers, profitable products. So that's basically the process. Okay, now what I'm going to do is actually do a demonstration of how I go about doing this. So let's say you have a supplier. Now first of all, it's finding a brand, as I said before. So one great place to find brands are at actual online stores. So if you're on Home Depot, for instance, you might want to find a brand. The thing is, certain brands tend to carry certain types of products, and if you're doing Amazon FBA, for instance, or FBM, and you're actually shipping these products in, right, you might have a certain preference. So you might not want large products, for instance, right? You might not want appliances, or maybe you do want appliances, right? So it just depends. So for this example, I'm actually going to go to kitchen and tableware, and I'm going to go to kitchen utensil sets, which is something that's kind of more simple to work with, right? So you might not mind sending in kitchen utensil sets for FBA, for instance, or you might not mind shipping them directly to customers. So you might want to go to that category, right? Now when you're in this category, this is where you start to get some brands. So here's a brand, and actually at this point I'm just looking at the brands. I'm not even so much concerned with the products. So this is Cuisine Art, and basically all I'm going to do is actually go to the Amazon catalog. You can get here from your Seller Central account. You just go to catalog, add products, and when you're here, you'll simply just paste the name of the brand and click search, and what you're going to see are all these different results, right? Product results. And now here's the thing. When I click here and I open this, I see it says apply to sell, apply to sell, apply to sell. I don't have approval to sell this brand, right? I can click apply to sell, but I already know they're going to ask for invoices and things like that for me to get approval. So I'm not going to do that for retail arbitrage. So what I will do, okay, is simply move on, right? And to a different brand. Now something you can also do that I do is I keep a Google sheet, which I can share with you, and I keep notes on brands so that I can always come back to them. So like Cuisine Art, Amazon approval, no, and I don't have to say anything else about it. I'm not really interested beyond that point, right? And that's just something that I can make a note on. Then I have this other brand, Ocean Star. I just do the same process. I copy it, paste it here, and again select a condition. This means I have approval. It's letting me select. I can sell it new or used, right? It's good to know what condition you can sell in. Sometimes you can sell in one condition but not another, and sometimes it varies by product. See, new collectible. So I mean, that's good to know as well, right? So I have approval to sell this brand. So Ocean Star, I could actually go ahead and enter this in and say yes, I have approval to sell Ocean Star. But my next concern in the process is it on any kind of restricted brands list, right? So if you go to Amazon restricted brands list and you put it in quotes, that's an exact match on Google, you're going to get all these different lists which you can open, and when you open them, you're going to see a whole list of brands. You can go in and then actually check and see if the brand is on the list, right? Like here, you could go down to O and you could look for it, and I don't see it on there. You can also use Control F, which is find, and you can type it in. Type in the brand name, and I don't see it appear. But I usually like to actually look. Now, this can be a bit time consuming too, especially if you're going to check multiple lists. But actually, a fast way to do it is that you set up another set of quotes and you type in Ocean Star that way, and then press enter, because this is called an exact match. Exact match on Google. Google will try to find the Ocean Star name inside of all of the different lists that came up before. If it does not, you see there we don't have any matches. These are just ads. These are not matches. It's probably not on any of those lists. In fact, it's not. Okay. Let me show you what happens when it is on a list. So I'll do Cuisine Art, and you're going to see that when I do it this way, Amazon restricted brands list in quotes and then Cuisine Art in quotes, I do get results. Okay, which means it's probably on one of these lists. That's why it's coming up in Google results. And right, I'm going to look for it, and here it is. Okay, so this Google search found Cuisine Art inside of these lists, and that's why this time with this brand I do get some results. If I check this one, it's another list with Cuisine Art. You can see it right here, restricted. Okay, now so that's the other part of the process. Now the other thing I mentioned was using a Chrome extension to see if a brand is known for IP complaints. So the real dangerous thing with Amazon is, even though I have approval to sell a brand, I still have to worry about IP complaints, right? Which is really a serious problem, but you know, we have to work around it. And one of the things that will help is having the tools to work around it. And of course, we know tools are not free, but you know, some tools, I mean, to me, it's worth the investment for the safety. So this lets me know that the brand is not known to file IP complaints, because I see a green thing here. Okay, a green check mark. I'll show you the difference with Cuisine Art, right? If I open one of these products, it's going to tell me right away this brand is known to file IP complaints. I don't have approval to sell it anyway, but it's letting me know that it's letting me know that they do file IP complaints. So if I did have, you know, approval, I might be concerned about the IP complaints. Okay, so that's something to think about, right? And that's a Chrome extension. I actually have a discount for it, and there should be a link in the description of this video if you're interested in that Chrome extension, and I do have a discount code. Okay, now the other part in the process is then to do a Google search, right? And basically, I mean, this is pretty much sourcing the product, but the reason why I say Google search, and I'm just going to go back again, Google search the brand/products, is because what I'm saying is that you can also Google a brand in general just to kind of get an idea of who carries that brand. So like you can just Google Ocean Star in general and then go to shopping, and you just kind of get an idea of what suppliers carry that brand. So you see that it's at Macy's, it's at Home Depot, I see Target, right? So this is apparently a brand with products that can be found at a number of different places, you know. And sometimes with Macy's especially, you catch a good sale. So with a supplier like this, if you were doing FBA or something, you know, or even FBM, you know, I mean, you might find it much lower here. I don't know if that I don't know that applies to this product, but I just mean in general. Sometimes Macy's will bring the price down very low, and then it's higher on Amazon, and you can buy it at this low Macy's price, and then you can send it in and make a profit on Amazon. All right, and the sales are usually very temporary, but that's just, you know, Again, I'm not saying this product is one of those products, but I'm saying that Macy's does this a lot. All right, so by Googling in general, you get to see like the different deals and things like that that might be out there for certain products, and also to see the different suppliers. So that is pretty much the brands research process. Once you've done that brands research and you've decided that you want to go with a brand, it's really just a matter of looking for the products, right? So now back to the Google Sheet. I mean, this is really just about recording data. You can decide how much or how little data you really want to be bothered with in recording data. I'm big on data, so I really like to record a lot of details. So if it gave an IP alert, I want to say yes to that, right? Ocean Star did not. All these different things are things that I like to put down, right? This is on a restricted list. That's the first brand we checked. Okay. So another thing is, does the brand have an Amazon store? And you might wonder why I even have this here, but I don't know how significant that is, but it's just something that I'm interested in, which is that if I click the brand name, do they have an actual store on Amazon, right? And as it turns out, both of these brands actually do have an official Amazon store set up, and that is something that I will also make a note of. Okay, because it's just, I feel like it might mean something, right? Private brand, meaning is it only from one particular supplier? From what I can see, not really. So Ocean Star, we found it on Home Depot, obviously, but I think I saw that it was also at Macy's, Target, right? Should be at Walmart as well. So you can just kind of write down some of the different suppliers that might carry, right? So you might say Walmart, Target. Okay, if you want more suppliers, you can put Macy's. Okay, you can go on and on, because there are a lot of potential suppliers, right? So I could actually really take this further as far as I want, right? So this is really doing brands research, collecting data on the brands and things about the brand. All right, and this is really important. So once you have all that down, then you can go ahead and go in and start looking at the products for that brand, and you can look at these individually and then try to actually source them. If I'm here, I could also, let's look at another brand, Home Basics, for this next product. Okay, Home Basics, I'm going to do this brand as well, right? And this time I'm just going to run through the process faster, right? Because when I'm teaching it, it might seem like a lot, but that's because I'm teaching it. But when you do it, you see that it's actually going to be fast once you learn the process. So right away, I just put the brand in. Right away, yep, I have approval for all these. Look at all these different conditions. Yep, I have approval to sell the brand. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to check it on the list on Google, Home Basics, 2 separate words. All I'm getting is ads. All right, I'm not getting any results. I'm going to put them together just in case. Sometimes the way they type them on the list is not the way it's written. And still, I'm not finding it anywhere, so I feel good about that. It's not on any restricted list that I can see. And now I'm going to open one of these products, see if my Chrome extension gives me an IP alert. I've got no IP alert. In fact, I have a green check. So I feel good about this brand, Home Basics. I'm going to record this brand in my spreadsheet, Home Basics. Yes, I have approval on Amazon. No, it is not a restricted list. It is not an IP alert. Do they have an Amazon store? I didn't actually check. And Home Basics, visit the Home Basics store. Looks like they do. Yep, and they do have a store on Amazon. Okay, that's just something I'm curious about. And different suppliers, I found them at Home Depot, right? But what I could do, I could Google the name of this brand, see if it's found anywhere else. Go to shopping, right, and I can see where else it's found, right? Bed Bath & Beyond. Okay, Home Depot. I'm seeing Home Depot. I'm seeing Walmart. Pretty typical. I see Overstock. Okay, I see a bunch of different places, right? And you can write some of those suppliers down where you're seeing some of these brands, right? Okay, or you can just copy. I mean, we know that these 2 were there already. All right, and you can put down some suppliers if you want, right? You don't necessarily have to put all the suppliers, because there might be a lot of different suppliers, but just to kind of give you an idea. All right, So that's already 3 brands, and out of these 3, 2 brands are approved, and they seem to be okay with no restrictions or anything like that. So, you know, I would feel good about at least trying to start sourcing products from these 2 brands, knowing that I already have approval and that they're not restricted or known for IP claims. So I do want to point out and just make sure, I don't want to give wrong impressions here. Nothing is perfect, so just because you have a Chrome extension, it's not perfect. But the good thing about the Chrome extension for IP Alert is that they're updating the Chrome extension as people begin to report, hey, this brand is trouble. They add it to their database, and then they're able to check. Where when you are just dependent on these lists, the problem with the restricted list is that they might be that might not be updated. Somebody might have created that list a year, 2 years ago, and it hasn't changed. So the software that deals with the brands is more likely to have, they're going to always be trying to update it and put more brands on it. So lists are good because if you see something on the list, you just know not to deal with it, but you still want to also have some way to really check, okay, and see if there's some kind of alert on that brand. All right, so that's basically how that works. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to do in this video. This video is not about sourcing products per se. This video is more about the actual process of doing brands research, which is in this case for retail arbitrage, meaning that we're looking at retail suppliers, brands that are sold at those suppliers, and comparing those brands on Amazon to see what we can do with those brands for selling those brands on Amazon. So anyway, check the description of this video for any links of things that were shown in this video. If anything's left out, it shouldn't be, but if anything's left out, you can always let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure to add any links that were not there. So any comments, suggestions, or questions, you just leave them below, and just look out for a following video that should continue with more information on brands research for retail arbitrage in general, and also product research for retail arbitrage in general. It's Mr. Mark, Excel for Amazon, and I look forward to seeing you in another video.